is going on? Oh, we've got all sorts of fun things going on in the kitchen today. Spicy pork cabbage, everything you need to make this spicy pork cabbage, we are going to do right now. I got to get all this hair out of the way. I don't want any of these locks in the food. But let's actually... I'm just going to hit ... in the chat window to get us started. So in case you actually want to say anything, just let me know. I'm going to keep an eye over there quite often as I can. And we are going to get started with our spicy pork cabbage. This is one of my favorites, and I love eating this. And sometimes I will actually pressure cook and steam the cabbage, and it'll be all soft, and it'll be like carnitas. That's what it is. It's like, imagine carnitas mixed. If carnitas were good for St. Patrick's Day, there you go. That's exactly what we're about to eat. Carnitas for St. Patrick's Day. And here's the secret. The secret we're going to get to is going to be so awesome. So the secret we're about to get to is I didn't have to slow cook the pork. Now, you could, if you want, slow cook the pork for 4 or 5 hours. Instead, nobody believes me. I'll serve it to them. They'll be like, this is amazing. And then I'll tell them and they still don't believe me. Canned pork. Canned pork is awesome. And I will tell you why canned pork is awesome. First of all, a lot comes in a can. The can's like this big, but a lot comes in that can. It's compact and it fluffs out. Number 2 is the fat almost always solidifies and settles in one spot of the can. So it's that much easier to drain, meaning it's solid when you open the can, and then you scoop out the pork, and then you can set the can aside where all the fat's still in there solid. Then you heat it up, and then you can drain even more. So that's just, it's great. It's great. I absolutely am pro canned pork. So what we're about to do now first, though, is bust out our first ingredient. And that is going to be our cabbage. All right, let's bust out that cabbage. I have got a whole cabbage coming up here. We're not going to need the whole cabbage, actually. I'm making one bowl. We're going to do one serving. I'm not going to make like 10 servings. Just I don't know how they do that on other shows. You see other shows, and they're always like, oh my God, they're making. There's 3 judges, but they're making enough servings for like 8 people, and then they plate for 4, have a bunch that goes to waste, and then one plate is plated, I guess, for pictures. It's ridiculous. So let's actually bust out. I am pulling out my lucky. All right, so here we have, first of all, here we have the cabbage. This cabbage is beautiful, beautiful. And then I am pulling out my lucky, absolutely beautiful. I don't know how to say it, but this is my favorite knife. This is my favorite knife in my collection. So I'm looking forward to this cabbage is going to go to town. So let's actually now switch over. Now, real quick, before I switch over to the knife, let's take a look at this cutting board. And there's been so much work going on in the kitchen today that this is getting messy. But this cutting board is my favorite because it out slides different. It's got a little compartment that has all the different plastic things which protect the bamboo. And so that is the Cooler Kitchen, which is a great name for it. The only downside is getting those things back in. You got to push and then push back in. But it's great, man. And I don't swap them out unless I'm doing like meat and then veggies and then meat and veggies. I actually prefer to use one up till it's super dirty. stick it in a dishwasher, and while that one's in the dishwasher, I got another one, right? So I cycle through them. So I have a few of them that I haven't used yet, and they're marked. They're marked for, there's a little in the corner here. This one's got a little veggie corner, and there's the red one's got meat in the corner. And so you can stay really organized with these. But let's actually now, you'll see this knife is just stellar. We're gonna actually some sauce from the last episode. That's totally fine. We are going to go. I'm not going to have too much in there. I'm not going to need too much per serving. I think if you're serving 4, half head of cabbage is all you need. You don't want too much, even though it will cook down. Yeah. This knife is something else. Something else. God, this knife is awesome. I love this knife. All right, so I should probably let you guys know. This is absolutely my favorite, best knife in my collection. Look how. I mean, it's just destroying this cabbage. I'm not going fast like a Food Network chef. I mean, if I'm doing smaller than cabbage, I've got a little better dexterity with that, but I have no desire to show off at the risk of, ruining things. So I'm going to actually weigh this so we know exactly what we have. You can eyeball, feel free. You don't have to weigh this. I like to weigh this so I know exactly what I'm doing, and then I enter it in macros and all. I know exactly. I want to know what I'm getting. So switch from ounces to grams. I'm used to ounces, but I'm starting to really want to get used to using grams. But that's actually about it. That's all we need for that. So 123 grams. So let's actually find out what that will be for the total macros of this puppy. I'm in Fire tablet here where I'm entering these things out. I want cabbage raw. Oh, went up to that's 123 grams. 123 grams is 31 calories, 7 carbs, 1.6 grams of protein, 0.1 grams of fat. Just in case you were curious, I track all of that. All right, so it's another thing you're not going to believe me on here. We are actually going to pop this in the microwave. That's it. Chopped up this cabbage, stuck it in the bowl. We're popping it in the microwave. And I'm going to do 2.5 minutes. If you go too much, it gets a little chewy. And if you go not enough, it's too squeaky. So 2.5 minutes is usually pretty good. But you might want to experiment a little with a few bowls because it also depends on the bowl you're using. Sometimes we'll absorb the heat. All right, so next up now I'm going to grab. I had already opened a can earlier today. You're not going to believe me how awesome this is. So this is from a can of pork. This is half the can left. Like I told you, it fluffed up, drained, and everything. I mean, this is a lot more. I'm only going to use about 100 grams per serving. This is probably 300 or 400 grams. I'm getting a little better at grams. My brain still works in ounces, but and it's been months trying to train myself. I'm getting a little better at it. But so I think I can eyeball now after making this recipe a bunch of times. This might be 400 grams left. And that should get roughly about 30 grams of protein. So while our cabbage is cooking up, let's discuss make a side of beets and stuff like that. So this is the canned protein, canned pork. It's just heat and serve pork. It is pretty fatty, so that's why I drain it. And that's actually the benefit of the can versus getting actual pork. It's really hard to get a nice lean cut of pork. It's not going to be tough. Like, it's still soft. The way the canning process is almost mimics. I don't know how it does it. Like, it almost mimics a pressure cooker. It's a slow cooker. The way the texture is. I mean, it's really good. It's ideal pulled pork carnitas style texture. It's really good. And it's just plain. There's nothing in it. It's not salted. We're gonna add seasonings, and I can still fluff it up. All right. Yeah. So our cabbage is ready. Pull this out. Get it on our sickle, and look how much it like cooked down. All right. So I'm going to now add in our canned pork. And because I drained it, I have to actually estimate this as pork crumbles that are 96% lean. The can starts out, I did the math, it's like 85%. And then with everything I drained out, I weighed it once. I'm hoping that's generalizable to each can every time I do this. It takes out, I think it gets me down to 96%, maybe probably closer to 90 on some cans. But I think this will be safe. And remember, I want to add in about 100 grams. That's 17 right there per, like, this teaspoon, heaping teaspoons worth. I'll break it up a little more. Look how nicely it just breaks up. It's 35. $52, $56, $77. We're almost there. $90, $95. I think it's okay if I go over. It's $98. Oh, it's 100 even. Oh, 101. Ah, went back down to 100. 101, so I'm going to call it 100.5. And again, you don't have to be exact. So I had 30.7 grams of protein, 0 carbs, 7.2 grams of fat. It actually might end up being a little more fat than that, depending on how well it drained. But as you can see, I think I called it. That was a fourth of the bowl, maybe a third. And this is how it looks now. Very cool. Now, the cabbage is very hot, so there's no need to heat that up again if you wanted to eat it right away. But we're going to add now, we're going to spice things up and add the seasoning. And that is going to help us with, it's going to buy some time that we're going to want to reheat it again, if that makes sense. And you can. And then when I say reheat, I'm saying we're going to heat it up warm up for another like 30 seconds after we add all the spices. And it's going to be piping hot, trust me, because that cabbage is hot. So next on our list is, all right, so first thing I actually do is I kind of made my own truffle sea salt mix, truffles, sea salt, and black pepper in a grinder. You can just use regular salt, and you can be kind of generous with it. Like both pork and cabbage, eat up a lot of salt. All right, so next up is the everything but the bagel. So this particular everything but the bagel seasoning is, I mean, it's ready to go. Oh, I guess this light is very bright. So here we go. That's better. All right, so that's what we got going on here. And I'm just going to add a dash because this, unlike the truffle sea salt I made, is actually quite salty. And mainly, I just like the texture of the little sesame seeds in there. And that's it. I just want a dash of there. It's got its own distinct flavor. It's great on everything. But I just want a little bit in there. And I'm just going to quickly add what I didn't add in the list yet, even though this is just for my personal taste. For everyone else, there's enough garlic-y taste in that, everything but the bagel seasoning. But I'm actually going to coat this in a layer of garlic powder. Because I'm crazy like that. Yeah, that's just for me. All right, so next up, we're adding up on here is the mazola sazon. I guess technically it's Mexican. Mazola sazon. All right, so just gonna have it. I got into this habit after the last album of speaking like I live in Spain and Colombia. I was recording down in Colombia and kind of picked up a little Castilian in my accent, which is crazy because I've got now this Dominican, Colombian, Castilian thing going on. And anyway, so it's probably mazola sazon, but man, it's a lot easier to say mazola sazon. But anyways, sazon. Actually, sazon is not an easy word to say. Anyways, I'm supposed to keep all of this 100% in the English language, but this is good stuff. This is like, imagine if you had Dorito seasoning without the cheese. It's the best way I can describe this. I mean, it's so good, and you can be kind of generous with it if you don't want it too salty. It might be a little too salty if you aren't that generous, but it just tastes so good. Again, like that's the best way I can describe this. Like Dorito seasoning without the cheesiness. It's spectacular. It's spectacular. Like I put it in everything. It's that good. All right, so next on our seasoning list is yeah, my favorite, the Valentina hot sauce. I am so crazy about this hot sauce. Man, my ring light really needs to go down in the volume. But I'm so in to this hot sauce. I put it on everything. This and Cholula. And which is funny because I used to endorse my own line of sauce. I guess technically I do. I don't know if they survived, being that they were manufactured in Costa Rica. But feel free to be generous with this. There's no need. The cabbage actually absorbs and balances out the flavor quite well. This is the and it might be still spicy for a lot of you, but this is the black label one is the super hot and spicy one. And then this one's just a nice hot sauce. I mean, it's just the flavor profile of that hot sauce is something else. All right, so now we're going to just kind of toss this a little, get it in there while we got the hot sauce there before we add our next batch of seasoning. And notice I'm just kind of stirring it slowly. I'm not getting too excited about it. I'm just wanting to mix things together, but I also don't want it to be homogeneous. I want each bite to have a different ratio of pork to cabbage. Now, this could be good to go as is right now. And it will be hot enough to serve right now, actually. Oh my God, it's fantastic already. I mean, seriously, it is. It's fantastic already. That's what we're about to do next might be a little overkill, but trust me on this. So you could be good to go as it is. I mean, it's great. I mean, right now it's got definitely a Latin flavor to it. But now we are going to go over the top. We're going to go over the top. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of tomato paste. Now, if I was using steamed cabbage, I would not, or pressure cooked cabbage, which is super soft, so I would not go this next step. But the crunchy cabbage, because cabbage still has its crunch after you microwave it for a couple minutes, it's just got a better mouthfeel. But the crunchy cabbage absolutely benefits from a little tomato paste. I keep doing that. I'm so used to doing this for everything, but like everything's so reflective with the ring light today. Right? All right. So, and I'm going to use the same spoon. I don't suggest you do what I'm doing here. I use different spoons for everything because you might have a ton left over, but I've got a lot of plans for the rest of this, for the remainder of the day, for other things that I'm creating. So it is irrelevant. So not a lot. That's actually too much. About that much, which is like what, half tablespoon, and that's about a gram. So I'm going to count that as 5 grams. You know, the contadina is so good. I've literally just had it with Parmesan cheese and that Valentina hot sauce on its own. Oh man, and it makes the best garlic chutney. Like if you mix this with like air fried garlic or a crazy amount of garlic powder, and then cook it down so it's even thicker. Oh man, that's serious. That's good stuff right there. What did I say? 5 grams. Where are you? Tomato paste. Oh, look at that. It's a calorie a gram. All right. That's all we need in there because it's very strong. You don't want that tomato paste to overpower. I mean, a little more than that, you run the risk of it overpowering. All right, so we did the everything. Yeah, here we go. I'm not really 100% sure how to pronounce this one. Hawaj. So TK, which I believe stands for Totally Kosher, they actually sent this out to me. And okay, we're going to try this again. And hopefully you can actually see this. And it's not just like all reflection all the time. Oh, that's even worse. All right, so yeah, crazy. That got toned down the ring light. I've got him on a whiter. I usually like it a little more yellowish, but at the last video I needed to brighten it up there. Anyways, so this Hawaj, it's mainly for soup, but it's essentially like a curry powder mix almost. And you don't want any on your fingers. Like it's pungent. Like just want, that's it. And now we've moved on from moved on from a Latin to like a masala taste. All right, so now we've gone Latindian style, full on. That's all it took. A little tomato paste and this Hawaj, and all of a sudden we are. It's no longer a south of the border flavor. It's now got a Latin meets, Indian flavor. Hawaj is technically not an Indian thing there, but It's as far as I know, but it's Latinian style now. I mean, it's got like a curry, definitely a curry flavor to it. I need to see if I need to wash this. Okay, no, I'm good. None got on here. Seriously, like even like a few kernels that gets on your finger, you gotta like wash your hands right away. It's amazing. It's amazing. It'll get into everything. But boy, is it fun to eat. All right, I'm gonna just do the same thing. I'm just gonna meld that in there. That was just a little bit of tomato paste and a little bit of that TK Hawaii spice. All right, let's see where we're at flavor-wise here. I think we're good with this so far, and then we're going to start on our sides. It's incredible. Not to toot my own horn on this recipe, but the depth of flavor on this puppy. Well, that's how you do St. Patrick's Day. Corned beef. Psh. It's going from, it hits you with a nice crunchy cabbage, carnitas flavor into almost an Italian flavor because of the tomato paste, and it finishes it off with a bit of a curry type of situation there. And by now, this does need to be popped in a microwave for another 30 seconds, which I will do before serving. But now, for next on our list, we are actually going to go straight to, this is what I want for the sides. And I actually jumped ahead and pre-boiled. These were pressure cooked beets. I don't need a lot of them. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to make the side here on the cutting board. And then I don't know if there's any necessity to plate it just yet. I think we're starting to run long. This should be sufficient. Just that much beet is all we need. So what I did was I pressure cooked a lot of beets. And with that, it makes them like the perfect consistency. You'll see how soft. Look at that. I mean, this to me, this is the ideal beet consistency. It's almost like the consistency of a canned beet, like the canned jelly beet, but it's a real beet. All right, so we've got about that much. I'm not going to bother measuring this out because we are running along. This is hardly any calories, which is the beauty of beets. And then the oranges, I want to get one that's super, here we go. This one is actually, and this batch of oranges, I got some of them that are smaller and still have green, but they're super ripe. I can tell by squeezing them. They arrived super ripe, which is interesting. Just a couple of them in the batch. And these are the ones. Just a few of them. And so I noticed, I love the taste of those. So I noticed that even though they're insanely juicy, these smaller ones that may or may not come in the batch, they're for some reason not as sweet as the bigger ones, which is interesting to me. And they don't peel as well either. But the bigger ones in the batch have a thicker pith. See how these are not that easy to peel, but they're really great in cooking. It's the perfect flavor profile to add to a side dish, especially to add to beets. All right, here we go. And I'm actually not going to separate them. I'm going to actually slice them without getting them too insanely juicy. Just kind of like that, just a wedge here and there. Actually, that's enough. That's enough. I don't need the other half of that orange. That's why these small ones are perfect. That's enough. About equal beet to orange ratio. And then, so what I'm going to end up doing is, and again, we're not going to do this now because I got more to do. But what I will end up doing is putting these in a smaller bowl next to that one. That's how I would leave it. It should be in a bowl. And then I will add more of that truffle sea salt. Regular sea salt's fine. Even table salt's fine with that. Himalayan pink salt would be great for this. I mean, there's a lot of options for salt. Tahini would be great for this. Sometimes I even toss more of that Valentina hot sauce on it, but mixed with this, it'll be overkill. All right, so, and then last but not least, just gonna put some of those walnut halves on there. And I take them out of that plastic bag and stick them in these mason jars. It's just a better way to do it. And not a lot of them. And what I like about these is most of them are actually whole. It says walnut halves and pieces, but most of them are actually in really good shape. For something like this, I would actually want more pieces. Let me put these on the side, actually. Because I'm going to salt them before I plate them. That's enough. That's plenty. That is plenty. And halves are so cherished. I almost want to chop them back up with my favorite knife. I think we'll close off by taking a look at my favorite knife again. And I think I know what's going on with this light. The sun's going down, and I was dependent on the sun. And now this ring light is the only source of light coming in here. The sun was coming through earlier, which made for a better scene. And I think that's what's going on. But again, this knife, the best knife in my collection, hands down. I'm so in love with this knife. And there you have it, folks. This is then our spicy pork cabbage. And then now we're going to have a side of this beet and orange salad with just a few of those walnuts topped. And it's a great pairing. And there you go. That is how you do St. Patrick's Day Latindian style.